Hello everybody, I think we got it going here. Let me get the other camera angle going. Cool. I think I got it together today. Today I started a little bit late. I got Nikki in here, she's working on some stuff. But we had, oh, you know what I've got? I won't be able to hear anything. I got this other thing going on. Let me make sure that it is not going to do the computer sounds. There we go. Yeah, we are preparing to go to Dallas for a few days, but we are going to, hey David, we're going to go to Gen Con here next week. And I'm looking forward to it. I've actually got more and more meetings as we keep going here, which is good. That's the reason why I'm going. But we're looking forward to it. We get Derek's going to be there with his wife, who we've never met, and Candace and Beth and Eric and Stephen Cordell. He helps out at the warehouses, the warehouse. He works with the library, so he's going to be there to help collect games, which is good. So it should be fun. And there's going to be more. There's going to be, I'm not thinking of everybody here. John and Lainey. I don't think, John's probably going to be working for his job, but Lainey will be working on the library. She's also, Lainey works on the library, but she also does, tabletop events, which is the software that we use for our conventions, which is great. We used it for the BGG live conventions that we did, online conventions we did in 2020. And we actually, we used it a lot. We don't get to use it so much when we're at a convention normally, but with that, you get your badge and all that stuff. So it was cool. But we've been just busy trying to get stuff done. I see flicking bollocks. He's like, paint job? Nope. Okay. He was watching, or was checking in on YouTube, but not going to watch, which I don't blame you. This is not for everyone, for sure. I'm going to continue with the sprues I got from, the game I got from GW. They sent it to me about a month ago. I don't know where the cover's at. But it's the new Introductory Set. Goodness gracious, oh, there it is. It's not the cover, it's the whole box. It's the new Introductory Set, which has a bunch of termagants. I think it's what they're calling them on here. And I'm used to Gene Stealers, and maybe they're not really Gene Stealers. And then 5 Marines. I'm assembling the Gene Stealers right now. We'll see. I'm going to try to move quickly today so I can actually get them done, and then next time I paint, I can do a little bit of it, because I'm actually excited to do. I've only ever done some Gene Stealers for Space Hulk, and I actually speed painted those really with Scott, and so that was I really loved it, but I don't really, that's 14 years ago, so it has been a very long time. But I want to try to get through all these and move on to the, I've done a couple of them. I have a couple here. Let me cut to the other camera angle and maybe zoom in a bit. The online convention again sometime. Yeah, I don't know, David. I mean, it's hard for, some cons do both, I think Gen Con actually does both. And I think that's a great idea. It's hard for us because the same people that run the standard event run the online event. And so it was a lot of work. It was especially hard. Nikki and I, when we were doing it, we were live streaming still. That was when we were still doing the streaming for games, showing the games off. I saw this weekend there will be something with this. This game is broken, but I don't know if that's what their YouTube or their Twitch channel is called. But anyway, they're doing some game demos, which is interesting. But it's everybody was not. It's just not great anymore, unfortunately. So let's move on to this one here. These are the what the heck are they called? I need the manual. I need it. They are called, I never can remember it. Ripper Swarm. That Ripper Swarm is, there's like 4 pieces that go on a larger base. The larger base that we have here. Actually, I want to do those too. I'll probably do those before I move on to the, I'll finish this one, then move on to do those real quick, which are very simple. And then I wonder if they are all identical. They kind of look it. I need to change glasses so I can actually see. But yeah, we got a lot to do. We actually filmed this weekend with Rusty, which was great. I had a real good time with him. I don't think they're the same. Very cool. I like that. Anyway, it was really great to see him, and it was really fun to hang out with him. Hey, thanks for the follow, Agent Merv. Zalsharf. Oh, we still have that still up there. We played Zalsharf with Rusty this weekend, so that should be an episode soon. It is called Pick a Pepper is the name of the game in English, and it's coming from Amigo soon, I believe maybe at Gen Con. So we are excited. We saw that game. We bought it at Spiel, but we saw it just before that with our friend, and we're very excited to get it. I'm actually sad we won't be visiting with our friend when we go to Germany this year, because oh my gosh, there we go. Thanks. 3 Muhammad. Okay, or I Muhammad. Well, thank you so much for the subscription and the support. Hey, Agent Merv. Yeah, we usually go and we get to see the new Amigo games, which I very much appreciate. I will probably book a meeting with them, since we always have games that they always have games we're interested in. But not quite released yet here. It's you can't see it. I'm sorry. But yeah, we part of my thing, is whether it's worth going to these events. It is. There's lots to do, but for us, it's expensive. Not to say that others shouldn't go. I just don't know that I should go. Hey, thanks, Root6 for the follow. Hey, Agent Merv's on both. Thanks for the follow and the subscription over there. Follow Agent Merv and for the subscription. 3 Muhammad, or I Muhammad. But yeah, it's expensive to go. So for us to go to Germany, it's a lot of hotel costs, which are not great at Essen, but gosh, boy, it's really not one to focus. They're not great at Essen, but they're not as bad as Gen Con. I mean, BGG Con can be expensive too if you're not on the block. So I mean, it's going to cons is expensive, and if I can't meet with a lot of people and actually get something accomplished, I'm not sure if we'll go every year. Even though I would love to go every year, I mean, but as a team, they'll be going because we collect games for the BG library. There's meetings, Eric and Candace will meet with publishers, which I do too, but their coverage, goodness gracious, let's focus here. I think the news coverage is kind of important. We do marketing as well. BGG we do those in focus and how to play videos, and those are worth it. It's worth going to the event for that, to try to tell people about it, but others can maybe do that too, so we'll see. I really like going to both. Gen Con's like my favorite pure large-scale gaming con. I mean, my favorite con for gaming is BGG Con, and that's not just because before I worked for BGG, we used to go to BGG Con, and we love it. And Dallas is fun for the food and all that stuff, but Gen Con's an amazing con just because it's 24 hours a day and so massive. You know, BG Con does the same thing. You can game around the clock if you got the energy. I don't quite have the energy I used to. But Spiel's a lot of travel, and it is not inexpensive. So we'll see how it goes this year. I mean, I actually would really not be happy to, I mean, because Nikki and I both go. Maybe just one of us goes, I don't know. Which wouldn't be fun. We have friends that we like to see there as well. And I know that Scott is not into the travel anymore, and I understand it. It gets harder and harder. I mean, we leave here. We just got home 2 weeks ago, and then we leave again here for the end of the week, Thursday. And so, you know, it's hard to be away from home. It's hard to be away from my mom. A friend of hers had a fall. You know, they go to lunch on breakfast on Wednesdays and walking, and a friend of hers had a fall. My mom had a fall 2 years ago, and it was not great. And she was, you know, upset about it, and she stayed with us till we knew what was going on. But her friend had a fall in the same park. They took her to the same hospital. I don't know if she got to her normal hospital because they take you to the nearest one. But she broke her arm. Her friend broke her arm, and it's just been a mess. So my mom's upset about that, and I don't blame her. And I worry about my mom. You know, she's doing pretty good, but she is definitely fragile. Getting more fragile. I'm looking to get back into board games again. Looking at smaller solo games like Deckbox Dungeons and Under Falling Skies. Under Falling Skies is great, but lots of cooperative games can also be played as, I mean, obviously smaller games is great, but lots of cooperative games can be played solo. We loved, it's not focusing. We love Final Girl, which is a single player game, but you can play it multiplayer, just discussing what you're doing. But that one's a great game, but goodness, it's got a lot of expansions. And One Deck Dungeon is hard. I've never played that one. David actually plays, Magus Mandrick there plays some solo stuff. He plays Marvel Champions. See, that's where I always get that confused. They call Challengers Champions. We actually are planning on doing another Marvel Champions episode here soon. I think we did one last season. We did. It was like a few episodes into the season. We really love co-op games. I bet you that, I wonder if it can be played solo. The Lord of the Rings one we did on the show a little while back, we played two. We actually played the whole thing, didn't we? So maybe if you're thinking about playing it, don't. Although it doesn't really spoil anything. It is the story. It's an adventure book game from Ravensburger, and there's another one coming from Cosmos at Spiel. Different game, but another cooperative adventure game for Lord of the Rings. That one's a lot of fun, and I'm not sure. I imagine you probably play multiple characters if you are playing solo on that one. We've only ever played that adventure book game. We purchased, I think we had The Princess Bride. We had planned on trying to do that with Deborah. We had joked that she was on the covers, so wow, did that break? Boy, oh boy, I have to look at the book on this one. It must connect to another piece. Anyway, but we never got to that one. We joked that Buttercup looked like Deborah from the Medusa doll maker cover, which is a great illustration. But Citadel Miniatures. They do cram them all in here. Okay, so I'm working on Huh. I just cut off 9, I think. Piece 9. Okay, so that's the third one. Should have known that anyway. It does show it going just forward. Okay, well, let me look at it. It is one of the things that can be challenging. I mean, I used to build these without any directions. You know, you would figure out the best you could. And then I guess this piece goes into both of them? I don't know. I don't know. This is not, oh, there we go. It goes here probably. Wow. Much more challenging than I thought. So I think that that goes there. And it is sort of going into that spot, even though it doesn't have a pin. And then it does look like the feet are level then, and then this other arm goes here and it connects to the gun. Okay, well there you go. Not doing a very good job of figuring that one out. So this one can go, it's weird that they got this massive hole that looks like it's for a pin, but if you notice it's not engineered the same. So maybe that's just a plastic conserving thing. You notice that even looks strange here, so. Anyway, we'll use some of the Tamiya thin cement, which I like a lot. I do like to play Warhammer, but I have not played in ages. And the last stuff I played was Warhammer Underworlds. Oh yeah, Red Cathedral's great too. We love that one. Nikki and I played it 2-player on the show. I've not played Earth yet. Elder Sign's awesome. Oh, that's right. You like DC. You have the whole DC deck building thing. Very cool. Yeah, David backed the Kickstarter for that DC deck building game. So he got a whole bunch of stuff. I just can't. I mean, I have a good amount of Marvel Champions. I keep buying like another expansion. I bought the expansion for the Guardians of the Galaxy. Nikki loves Guardians. I mean, I love Guardians of the Galaxy too, but Nikki really loves it. So we're going to do that one on the show. I really wanted to try to do it right about when the movie came out, which was at the beginning of May, I think. So it's not going to happen for a little while. Dave's going to play with this. I'm not sure if we're going to have a fourth. We do want to have Aaron over. We have not. He has a new job that is taking more of his time, and so we're trying to give him some wiggle room there, and then we're going to have him back. But we have an episode coming that we filmed with the 4 of us, and that will be coming soon. Oh, I didn't clean that arm, so I'm not quite ready to glue this together. Interesting. Okay, it's cool. It's another kind of dynamic pose. I thought I filed it, but I did not. Some of this can happen once it's put together, but I like to try to file this stuff beforehand, because once I glue it together, I kind of tend to forget to deal with it. So oh, you're going to paint the United set you bought? Awesome. Yeah, David sent me pictures of the Horrified minis he was working on. Oh, the Leviathan box. See, I've thought about it a lot. That's nice. I really would like to. I mean, I have so many sets. I don't have a ton of. I have actually more Warhammer and Age of Sigmar and Warhammer quests than I have. I mean, of modern stuff. I'm at heart more of a 40K player, interested in those miniatures, but I have plenty of stuff that's fantasy and Age of Sigmar. So I really love them. I think they're all, their sculptors are great. I remember, well, I loved the Eldar were my first army, and then we got Dark Eldar by default because the 3rd edition had a lot of it. So Nikki had a Dark Eldar army that I mostly painted, and I had a great time doing it. That's actually the most I've painted, I think, is the Dark Eldar. Lots and lots of Dark Eldar minis. And now they're called Drukhari, so I guess I should get that right. And the Eldar are the Eldari. But I remember, I think the first fantasy army I bought were the Dark Elves. And I think it was Chris Fitzpatrick is the name I recall. He designed that army, not that whole army, but he did a lot of the sculpts on it, and I really love those. And the funny thing is, I believe they were pretty much all metal. And I was visiting a friend in Missouri and bought the big box army they put out. And then was this after 9/11? Might have been. Or just before. I think if it was just after, I probably wouldn't have been able to carry it on. But they were like, concerned about it. And I go, oh, it's just, it's a game. And they looked at it, because, it's a bunch of little pointy things in metal. And they let me carry it on. But I bet you they would not have let me carry that on, a bunch of metal. Anyway. But yeah, I really love those minis. They were really great. I saw Chris Fitzpatrick did another, good gosh, would this focus? Did another game where he did, like, it was Egyptian themed, I think, which was great, but I never bought any of those. I didn't actually ever see any. I only ever saw them online. And it was back then, 22 years ago, maybe. They didn't really have a lot of, you really got to have some ventilation for this glue. Didn't have that many online retailers. I did buy some stuff, but I think I must have bought some stuff for GW online at some places, but I mostly bought from them. And so that the other companies, if they didn't carry them locally, it wasn't likely that I was going to find them. Or in that case, it was probably a British company, and I didn't have. At that time, I don't think I ordered much, if anything, from overseas. I've gotten a little bit more into doing that in the interim, Woof! Strong stuff. Gosh, it's terrible. It's in my mouth. We went to go get something to eat after we filmed with Rusty, and there was a terrible, really strong, well, there was a fire, clearly, but it was really strong and very, like, in our mouths. We were actually playing, I said we played Zalsharf with Rusty. We did not. We played that with Dave, but we played it with Rusty at the restaurant we were at, and the fire was really strong. And other people weren't even bothered by it. We're like, wow, what is going on? So we got the heck out of there. Rushed the game, finished. But, so this is still not one, of course it does not dry quickly. These glues take a while, but my fingers stuck to it, and it squirted out, obviously squirted out around the body. So I'm gonna let that dry, and I'll clean that up a little bit better. I love these, termagants, or whatever they are, they probably are weaponized, and I cannot remember on the other ones. The Gene Sealers maybe were not. Yeah, termagants. So much lore and everything else. And I've never played any of the Tyranids. I don't have any. I mean, I would love to get some of them. They are pretty great. I hope I'm putting these on the right bases. Oh yeah, these are going to be the Marines. There's probably 5 of them. I think we counted this the last time. Yes, so there's 5 of those. A bunch of these smaller bases. Did we put the size inside? I don't think so. It is a bit of a challenge with the one size fits all kind of thing going on, where, they use the same base for a lot of different minis. You end up having to fill holes and stuff like that. I do not have any green stuff. I looked for it the other day after I streamed. And I need to get some to fill some of this stuff. I don't even have any liquid green stuff. I've never actually used the liquid green stuff. I've used the sprue glue that I made a long time ago. Cool. Oh, it's warm here. It has been back and forth for us, and it's going to be probably warm in Dallas. So we've been having not as bad of hot weather as we could, but the humidity is stronger than normal, so it's uncomfortable. I play Nighthaunt. Awesome. Oh, the black coach is what Nikki has. Wow, you have the same ones Nikki has, the Lady O big box thing too. Hey, it's Annie. She's doing some laundry and work on some minis. Wow. Oh, Sebastian's not at work yet? Oh, it's evening. What am I talking about? Of course. He had to go back to work here at the beginning of the week. Cool. I'm glad Sebastian is continuing to work on stuff. He is busy, busy, busy now. Hey, Annie just resubscribed. 25 months. Thanks, Annie. We get to go see Annie and Sebastian at the end of September. We still have 2 months before we go, but we're looking forward to seeing them. But yeah, these are great. I've never done any of these. Sebastian has done, I'm sure, plenty of. I have gum in my mouth. Has done plenty of Terminator. Hey, Annie gave us a cheer. I gotta dance. Tyranid armies. Thanks, Annie. She's actually has more time to watch some of the streams and stuff now, which is great because we have been. They've been so busy. This one actually, remember I was on the last stream I was talking about the letter. This actually has the letter C on the post. The second one I did not have it. So obviously it's, do they show it as Model C? No, they show them as like numbers. 11, so it's each miniature. Looks like this guy wants to fall over a little bit. It's cool. It looks very dinosaur-like. Velociraptor. I don't know when these miniatures started to come into the GW line. I don't really know much of the stuff before 2000. I mean, I've read stuff, and I actually have the original Rogue Trader. Black coaches, I'm a fun model paint. The ghosts are super easy to make them look good. I just prime white and wash them with that blue oxide. Yeah, we did. I did the Warhammer Underworlds. I did 2 of those. I mean, here's one of the. This is the Briar Queen or whatever. She's cool. I mean, this one has been broken a bunch and stuff. And this was actually Sebastian and I painted these before the contrast paints came out. We used that Nighthaunt Gloom or whatever it is as the color, and it turned out pretty cool. I did Scott's with a different color. I did the what is that one? And it's very bright green. Hex Wraith Flame or something like that. I think that's what it is. And yeah, Hex Wraith Flame. I like those a lot too. It was a bummer because, you know, I determined before I start painting whose is whose, so I don't feel, because I try to do a great job, as great a job as I can on both of them, but I generally have I've given Scott the better set every time. But boy, this glue is smelly for sure. Nikki's in the background, Annie. Yeah, they're awesome. They really are neat design. So I'm looking forward to this because I've never really. I mean, I think we primed them black and then dry brushed them, which is totally valid. You can do whatever the heck you want just to get them playable, and they look good. I mean, they weren't just like one color or anything like that, but I yeah, they are different. Like this one is taller. That's great. I like that there's a bit of difference between them because that's, you know, it used to be when they were metal minis, they were mostly one design, and so you'd have tons of them. So let's go to the Ripper Swarm and figure out how those work. We've got 3 of them on here and 1 of them right here. Interesting. So they do have 2 that have used the post, and then 2 that do not, because there are 2 holes on here. We'll see how that goes. Well, that's cool. I really like these. I did do all of them, and we do have more. We bought the what are they called? Malignants. I think we bought like the Malignant starter box, which that's for Nikki. I think she got it for Christmas a few years back, but we haven't had a chance to paint it. I mean, I like the Warhammer Underworld stuff a lot, considering I love the 40K stuff. But this was I worked on the Stormcast Eternals. Hey, this guy's been bumped. I thought I varnished it. I have to touch that up, but it's not really that big of a deal. Oops, he's not in focus. But I did all this with the contrast paints, and I really like how they looked. So these wings are all 3 different colors of the same color. So I used one of the blues. Let's see if I can find it here. Was it Griff Charger? Gray, maybe? No, I think it was the Kellyan green, which is not really a green. It's a blue. And thinned it out with the contrast medium, and it really turned out great. You definitely see some different shadings. I agree with you on the Night Haunt. There's that very first one, mini that they did that inspired the whole army, was just, they're so cool and delicate. Like, I mean, this is fragile, but I like how they're delicately connected to the base and things like that. They're just really neat. I have more of them. I don't know where they're at. They're around somewhere. They might be in the house. You know, I like painting. I like all of them. I am kind of burned out on the Stormcast Eternals because I've done several sets of them so far. But I will do more. I probably at some point, I'm pretty sure it's in the Age of Sigmar, at least one of the Age of Sigmar boxes I have. But yeah, see, I mean, they turn out great. And I love this. Warhammer Underworlds has these great pre-done bases that are just fantastic. But what it ends up meaning is, it's not a frame, you can't really change them too much. You could sculpt and change it if you want, using green stuff and things like that, or milliput. This character's, I think, with the hood pulled down on the cover of like one of the new boxes, it's holding the lamp, and I thought, oh, it's going to be in the box maybe without the hood on, but no, it is not in it. I think that is the new. There was one of the announcements the other day. They also announced a new version of, goodness gracious, what was the other one that they announced? I think it's another variant on the Gore Chosen thing. So the Combat Arena maybe is the one I was excited about. There's some really great minis in it, and I think that's what it is. So it's the latest in the, not Gore Chosen, but Combat Arena. I think Gore Chosen and Combat Arena kind of have the same rules, so. But yeah, the Night Haunt is amazing. I mean, the names, Malignants and all that stuff too, is confusing because it just confuses you, like what's what. But and I'm not even sure they're called Malignants anymore. They keep changing. They might just be Night Haunt. That's the other confusing thing. I get it though. You know, they're getting their own names, because a lot of them are kind of variants on, you know, IP from, I mean, isn't the Eldar, I mean, I don't know what the heck the source of that is, but I know that they, I don't know, I can't even remember where, I kind of read something back a while ago where that came from. But, you know, they generally used kind of common fantasy names and things like that, and they switched to using their own, they're switching, because I think they're still, you know, they're always changing stuff to stuff that they can copyright, I'm sure is what it really comes down to. I know they changed the colors, the color names to standard, you know, instead of using Mithril, which was the name of the silver I used to love. I don't know what they call it now. I saw a video that Lila did about the contrast paints and versus the Army Painter and the speed paints, and Express, I think, is the stuff from Vallejo. She didn't have the same. Now, I have not used the Army Painter, and I definitely haven't used the latest Army Painter stuff. I've not seen it. I did see David Peach on the Painting Phase did a little, you know, review of it, painted some stuff, and they had some. They continued to have some what appeared to be some reactivation, which, you know, I don't know how much of an issue that is. They were concerned that that was just a mistake of their own. Except I don't, you know, it's weird because, you know, I'm sure he's painted plenty with the contrast paints and knows how that type of paint should work. But I definitely want to try them. I can't buy any more paints. I just have too much paint. I'm just buying colors that I don't have, but as it stands, I have quite a few different colors. It's interesting. I mean, I wonder what I was looking in the comments, and somebody said that about the pinks from the purples and maybe pinks from the Army Painter line. I think the ones here in the contrast paints from Citadel are pretty great. They actually have quite a few purples and blues, but maybe they're just straighter, great purples. Because like I was frustrated for the longest time to just get a good red. And they finally, I mean, I loved actually the two reds they had, but I wanted a straighter red. Not something so burgundy or whatever. Or kind of blood oriented. I mean, what is this one called? This is the latest ball red. And I mean, I love these. The Flesh Terrors and the Blood Angels red are both very good, but they weren't what I wanted. And so they finally are, you know, they have better yellows now and things like that, you know, because I think the first batch was 30 some colors. But I still feel, you know, what they're doing is they're doing colors that you can paint your army and it would be a color that's called for and you just do it and you've got it. There's no mixing, you know, and that's completely what you need to do. The issue was for me, like, why do we need so many greens and blues? And we still have lots of greens and blues. Clearly they're matching stuff that they use. And so I'm not sure, you know, the other manufacturers are not painting, you know, they're not doing them specifically for armies, even though they're often doing stuff to match for the GW stuff, because, you know, that's the big, the elephant in the room as far as manufacturers go. Do I do much tabletop? Adrian told us. Less is more with the polystyrene cement. If you don't flood it too much, it gets pretty yeah, it gets. Adrian's right. What you really do is you just let it sit for a moment before you. He mentioned this like 10 minutes, 15 minutes ago. If you let it sit before you glue, it's better. I haven't done as much tabletop wargaming in the last 10 years as I used to. We had a group, most of whom have moved away. And so it really fell by the wayside. I still have I have some painted armies. I have some stuff behind me. And I love it, but, you know, and I'm out of touch with what is going on with it. I have read some stuff with the rules. I will read this new set that came with this. I mean, I would love to get one of those boxed armies, but I really can't buy any more. I have far too many boxed armies. And I actually want, back in the day, 20 years ago, maybe 21 years ago. I don't remember when it actually came out. Oh no, it would have been around the time of the 3rd edition, because Black Templar were part of that box. Everybody I know kept those. I had my own 3rd edition box, and then I bought the boxed army that when they introduced that. And goodness, I think that was like $130, which was pretty darn cheap. That was, I never got any further with that. I mean, I really would have loved it, but I just did not. Oh, look at this. So they don't actually glue separately. I'm not sure that these two go together, but they glue together. They have a hole for them to connect, so that only one of them is actually connected to the base. Fantastic. Let me see if I can figure that out. Of course, I cut all these and didn't look at that. Are they different? They sure are. Very cool. Have to figure that out. Okay, once again to the book. Yeah, the sculpting on these things now is just amazing. They just have it all figured out. You know, it's all, you do it all in the computer, and you use some pre-sculpted elements already and add them to that, you know, which is really amazing. 43, 44, 42, 41. Well, 42, 41. Well, I cut them off, which is not good. I think these are the two they're talking about here, and these are the two here. Although that seems taller. That's what I get for just cutting. Well, I can figure it out and see. I'm sure it gives you a little bit of an indication of what's going on. Yeah, these look about the same to me. So, this is pretty small. And then this one here. Well, your guess is as good as mine. I shouldn't have cut them off so quickly. If I'd realized that. Let me look and see if the sprue gives me an indication, but I don't think so. Good luck. If I can figure out anything, that would be great. $42, $43. Huh. First tip, don't do this. Don't clip them off without making notes. Let's see here. I can figure this out. I believe so anyway. That seems... No. Seems like that's not it. Nope. Nope. This is from the other sprue. Probably. I don't know though, this has more connection points I think than that one. Wow, do not cut them off. Make sure you check it out before you wreck yourself. Wow, well, it's not that big of a deal. Put them together what you think it was close, but definitely take note. Actually, you know what I can do? They should have a picture of the sprue. They generally do. It is nice. I mean, as I said, in the old assembly, you really had no clue. Just figure it out. I don't think I see a picture of the sprue here, though. I will tell you that fanning the catalog or the book is cool. It feels cool on my sweaty person. Boy, I'm making a mess. Yeah, they got a picture of the wrong sprue for me. Would have bet. I'm sure it's online. I really don't think I'm going to worry about it. So that's a single post. I honestly feel like it's that one. It does look like it goes together, but see, they seem identical to me. I don't feel that they would be that tall. So let me look at the picture again. It does seem like there are two that are kind of, I guess that is it. Okay. So the other one is a little short. I guess they're both a little bit taller on the other character here. I don't know, they both look like they could fit on here. Let me do the other one, since it's not too hard to. Now see, these are supposed to be push fit, but I mean, and I guess you could do it and not worry about it, but I would say you want to glue these. I think that these are interchangeable because it looks like they have exactly the same mounting kind of stuff going on there. So that is what it will be. They look cool. Let me see again one more time. Back and forth, back and forth. They look great. They look great regardless. Why is this one so hard to put in? Yeah, these look good. Let's see if you can see them here. This is where I've got them. So I'm going to go exactly as Adrian says. Don't put so much in. And let it set for a few. Oof, strong smelling. It is really strong. It's one, I mean, I've used the Tamiya stuff before, but it has been a long time. And I kind of prefer the others as far as the amount of fumes. Okay, here we go. And as I said before, these actually kind of lube it up as you're gluing them together. They're almost too. So one of the things that I was saying previously was you should trim a little bit of the. I think I need a little bit of glue on the body of the other thing here, not just the outside. But you should maybe trim a little bit of the post that they have here off, because it makes it tight, right? The when you use this and it's meant to push together, it makes it so there might be a gap. And if you trim it off a little bit, it should not do that. Now I'm going to hold this together for a little while. And I did trim some off of one of the termagants to get the one of the arms to better blend with the shoulder that it was going into, you know. I'll let that sit and see if it holds it together. And then let's do this one. Get that closed up as soon as possible. Yeah, I don't have a group anymore here in Southern California. You know, I mean, I'm sure there's folks I could find, but it's mostly, anybody I do know that is doing stuff is mostly just painting. So ultimately, that's all I'm doing too. But I do like it. I played Warhammer Underworlds several times, and I like it because it's small. I've not played. I still have it sealed, the first edition of Kill Team. I don't know if it was actually the first edition. It was a few years back, maybe 2019, when they put this set out. And I think it was around the same time as an Age of Sigmar set. I mean, they're always putting stuff out. But I haven't even opened it up. And I know it's got great terrain and stuff like that in there, but I just haven't done anything with it yet. And I want to. And I have more terrain. I bought, what was this one here? Sector Imperialis Basilicanum, which is really awesome. Big statue outside of it. Still sealed. I have too much stuff. There's the Nighthaunt Black Coach. It looks great. Nikki did the old Vampire Counts coach. I don't think she ever really finished it. And then, but we got her this one as a gift. And then this is the Malignants we got here. Actually, I don't know if it's the same as what they did, but these are fantastic. Hey, Tiny Fire 5, thanks for the resubscription and the support. So yeah, this is the Malignants. I don't know if it's, you know, to get you start going, but it has this fantastic, I mean, it's just great. Really, really amazing. And, you know, Nikki loves the skeletons and stuff like that, so it looks really awesome. So yeah, this is what we got, not the other one. But yeah, she's got to get to that. Ugh, making a mess now. Don't pull stuff out. Now those have been opened. Nikki, I think, looked at that stuff. She's better than I am. There's a Tau hammerhead from ages ago. I've had that probably 18 years or something like that. Whenever I know I bought a Tau army. I bought the boxed army that when they introduced that as well. I have a tendency to do that and then never necessarily get to it. So I have thousands of minis. When Sebastian came to visit, he's like, you should sell some of this stuff. I'm just like, I can't. I've never sold anything. I just give it away or keep it for myself if I think I'll get to it at some point. Okay. Hey, Time Roller. Yeah, Red Cathedral's good. And there's an expansion for it too, which we have not played. We do want to try that one. Let me look here. Okay, that's what they're showing me to put it together here. Let's see if I can do it similarly. It is pretty interesting, you know, now that they've got these 3D models, they can do really great assembly instructions, you know, now that it's just so clear for the most part. Okay, the taller one. Although I kind of feel like they're both tall, but I'll say this is the taller one. Huh. Does not want to fit in that post hole. Maybe I ought to wait so I don't break it. Okay, that it does fit. I just was going at the wrong angle. So I might glue these from behind instead of worrying about. So what I could do is put a little bit of glue underneath here to make sure that it holds to the base. And then, it's sad though, I used to love the GW plastic cement, but they don't, it's not the same. I mean, they moved away from it a long time ago. And then now they have just their super glue, which is good. Hey, I'm getting it all over the base. And then I need to put some inside here. This is really most I've ever used this brush. I usually have used the internal brush. And I like this one because it's tiny, but it's much smaller than what I'm used to. So now it poked through there. I think that's going to have to be filed down. This base already looks like I had spilled glue on it anyway. That looks neat. I want to be able to paint when I return, but you know what? I don't know if I'm gonna have time to prime them before I get back. When I get back, am I using the magnifying camera as you build? I don't look through it. I actually do it all. I have reading glasses on. I am nearsighted, but there's like a window of how much I can see, and so I definitely do it with just I'll read it with my reading glasses. But this, I can see the camera in front of me, but I don't actually refer to it. What I mostly refer to that as, so that I can make sure that it's in focus. Which, as you can see, I'm not doing the greatest of jobs. I did see another video from Lila about something from Micromark that actually had like a camera to zoom in on stuff, to do faces, which is, you know, you're supposed to be able to attach it to a brush and paint, and she did not like that. I'm not sure I could do it either, because it's like, it's a disconnect. I can do this with my glasses because I can still get my 3D perspective in shape, you know, so like when you're putting the brush on there, you're not doing too much goofiness. And I can actually paint without my glasses, because I don't always have reading glasses. They have that super silly thin metal tub glue that always gets, okay, interesting. Yeah, it's frustrating, the products, because they actually make lots of great stuff and they kill them. My favorite thing of recent times is this, but they obviously didn't sell, although I did spill somehow on the stream a few weeks back. Even though it didn't spill, I must have drained out or something, because it was on this C here, and you can see some of it here. It was really strange. But I love this because I need it to hold my bottles. I wonder if it'll do this one. No, but it does the GW stuff well, Citadel, and I don't spill, you know, for the most part. But yeah, it's weird that they get rid of these things. And you know, they changed the handle. I don't have one of the new ones. I do want to get one. I actually painted with one last September, October, August, and a friend of Sebastian's had it, and I borrowed it for a little while just to see what it was like, and it was fine. But I'd like to have one just to have one, and I think maybe for Nikki it might be nicer because, you know, not that she's painting a lot, she'd like to paint more, but these actually do pretty good in here. The CMON minis, I've had a couple of them distort from this. I try to do it in the least amount of tension, right? And one of them popped off, and I thought, what did I do? And it had just distorted and popped off. I was able to bend it back so it wasn't messed up, but it is a challenge. Well, I've got whole 3, and I've got 7 more of these to do. I better get to work. What do we got? 11:30. I got another hour or so. And there's a lot more. Let's go to the next one. It's going to be 13, 14, 15, 16. Okie dokie. 13, 14, 15, 16. Where's 15? Oh, there it is. Little arm. Okay. I'm going to use different shears for this. Put this back this way. Hey, thanks for the follow. ASW Minis, add some wash. That's a good handle. Yeah, I actually put all the other knives, the cutters away. I actually saw I think on Miniature Market, these exact same trim, side cutters, these are the ones that GW put out 20 years ago or something like that. The very first ones they did, and I still have them. I have 3 total pairs, one of which the spring broke. So I don't think these are that great because of the spring. These type that use the metal seem to be more durable. You know, the attached to the handle and they just press against each other. This had actually snapped, and I still have that pair because I use it for some stuff. But they had the exact same ones for around $10, I think, on Miniature Market. But you know, because their newest ones are $40 some. They're very expensive. I've never used them. I'm sure they're great. I was talking about, I don't remember what manufacturer they were, but my friend had a pair of bypass shears, which is what I think one pair of GWs were made when they were talking about it on the painting phase. They had mentioned it. I'm like, oh wow, okay, no wonder those were probably pretty good, but I'm sure they're expensive. But the new ones are $45, I believe, and that's just a lot. But I think these are not bad trimmers. Make sure I'm still doing the right one. I am. That one's trimmed already. I just missed the knee here. I try to orient it so that it's flush to the body part, so it trims off as much. So these, I guess, have the tendency to potentially pull out the plastic, so you get a little hole that you would have to deal with filling. I don't have that problem. I've had it happen a couple times, but for the most part, it's okay. I don't know. I don't really remember I just remember they were great. My friend was very much into painting, so he had, hey, okay, 44. He had some very expensive shears back in the day. Not $45 expensive, though, I would imagine. And they were really fantastic, but I did not buy them. I think, as a matter of fact, I bought these, my first pair of these. But they work, and they're still fine. These are a little, if you'll notice the jaw, so, you know, they're not expensive. They came in the kit. But the jaw has like a little wide bit going on here, so it's not filed down necessarily the same, but it ends up getting in the way a little bit. It's a little offset there too, you can tell. And that's kind of a drag. But if you notice, this is small. If you can get this in there, it's pretty great. The right-hand side is much finer. These are definitely milled a little bit better than that pair. 14, 15. Right here. But there's a Japanese brand called God Hand or something like that. I've never bought any of that stuff. I watched a YouTube video. It might have been Ninjon talking about those tools. Like he got forwarded some stuff from somebody in Japan or something like that. I think that was who it was. And I was intrigued, you know, I mean, like, what's the story? But the reality is I don't know. I suppose if you're doing lots of trimming and you want to be as precise as possible so you're not making any fixes, then it's probably the way to go, is to get something really, really good. But I have had so little problems with any of them that I have. I have a few pairs. I showed one the other day that was one that I got with my laser printer, with my resin printer, you know, that were just included with it. And those have been great. I mean, I use them to trim stuff that I print, and they've been perfectly fine. And I used them on the stream the other day, and they were good. So I do not know. I went crazy and paid for the $40 for their fancy cutters. I like them a lot. Been using. Oh, so you know what? I think you have the ones I'm talking about. You have the bypass shears version. And those are supposed to be pretty darn good. I've never used their specific bypass shears, but I've used others, and they're great. So it's probably worth it. So interesting, you're saying the GW brushes. So on that video, they claimed that the Artificer, there I go, finally remember the name, the Artificer paint brushes, which are $30 some here in the US right now, are just Winsor Newton paintbrushes, which is not just, because Winsor Newton paintbrushes are phenomenal. And I use them. I haven't really used them in recent times. I have 4 of them or so, 5 Winsor Newton brushes. Well, of the Series 7. I have some other Winsor Newton brushes as well. I love them, but I have been having such great luck with these inexpensive ones from Royal and Langnickel, because they still last me. They don't maybe last 2 years, like a friend of mine was telling me about his expensive, because you know, to get one of these, a brush of this size, let's show you here. So this is a 4, and I honestly feel it's probably larger than that. It's got a great point. This is the newer one of the two. Let me pull out the other one that I've been using for at least 4 or 5 months now, not constantly, like, you know, a lot of painters would be. So this one is developing a bit of a hook. I've got my own hair all over myself here. What is going on? So this one it's getting tired. You know, I poke them in the minis, you know, like painting, and it's just the nature of how it works. But for a brush like this, it's probably $40 or $50 from Winsor Newton. And I bought all of these brushes for $40 or $50. Now, ultimately, I suppose if you think about it in the long term, it's a lot of material that just goes into landfills, right? So maybe that's not such a good idea, but I have no problem with these, and I just keep the other ones and use them. And I'm actually putting together a package for my friend to take to his daughter, because they're painting some stuff. They live up in the Bay Area, and they just don't have the money to buy all that. I'm like, I got a lot of stuff. I will send you some stuff. So I'm putting together a package of this stuff to send on, and some minis that I have extra stuff of. And hopefully, you know, they enjoy it, because it's supposedly they're dealing with like brushes that are falling, you know, like chopping them to try to make them at least fine, and you really want to have a decent point. But yeah, it's so expensive to buy. I mean, I think those Winsor Newton brushes I might have gotten on sale at that's why I probably have 5 of them at Dick Blick, and took advantage of the sale. But gosh, that's a lot of money. I probably have, let me see it. I can see at least 4. So I probably have $80 worth of brushes, maybe a little bit less. That's a lot. Hey, Light Akatil, I guess. Light Akatil, thanks for the follow. It just seems to me that that's just a little bit too much. But, you know, they said on that same thing where they said that the Artificer brushes are made by Series 7. What are you saying there? They are? Yeah, crazy. I'm huge on Series 7. Shocked to know GW Artificer is a Windsor. Yeah, I mean, so there you go. Tiny Clans, I guess I can barely see it. It's not in color, so my phone is like turned down there. But T-Cat, hey T-Cat. Yeah, 2 or 3 years. That's what my friend Scott said, Scott Kippen. He says they last him forever, which is great. I'm just not that great with them. I tend to beat them up to, well, I was saying, somebody commented on it saying how they disagreed with me on the Series 7 brushes. So obviously, if you get a good deal on the Artificer brushes, then it's probably worth it, but they charge more. They're 30, I looked on, after I heard about that, I looked at them on, and they said, you know, you're probably better off buying the Winsor Newton Series 7s. I looked it up, and they were, wow, this is very much similar to the other one. They were your better deal getting on Winsor Newton. And if, you know, you can get a good sale, there's some online retailers that are art supplies, because they have miniature versions, I guess, brushes for miniature painting. And that's probably because they do the stuff for GW. I mean, I think they've been doing it for a while. But they were saying in that video, when they were doing research to get manufacturers for their brushes, there were only 3 great manufacturers. 2 of them in Britain and 1 of them in the United States. Now, I find that hard to believe. I would think there's got to be some in Germany, in Italy and France maybe, I don't know. But you know, maybe that was at the time. But it's crazy that they. So I was saying they did a survey, you know, like a blind test where they made them all have the exact same handle, and they had 4 or 5 different types of brushes. And I imagine it was probably put together for Winsor Newton by for them to test. And everybody, without fail, chose the Winsor Newton brushes as the quality, the one that they liked. Talking from like people that are pros to beginners, and that's pretty amazing. And that means quite a bit, right? That it is, the quality is there. But I've just had no. Now, I haven't painted as much as I have with the GW with these. Royal and Langnickels as I had back in the, and these are made in China, I believe. And let's see here. Yep, made in China. But goodness, look how many brushes. It cost me the cost of one of the larger brushes, and I can just not worry about it and go, and you know, I don't burn through them. I'm still as cautious as I am capable of being, and I feel they do a good job for the money. But I'm going to try out. I'm going to try using the Winsor Newton. I have the largest I have, because they're expensive, is a 2. I have a 2, a 0, and a double aught, I believe, of like a couple of each of those. And I'll use the 2. Even though 2 is like too small for me now, I'm using much larger brushes. I feel that you get a better you get a better job because you have more paint in the belly of the brush, right? So I'm not going back to the pot or to the palette or whatever as much, and I think it's worth it. I really like them. Larger brushes. The one that I actually this was last year I bought these. I think I probably bought them 2 years ago, but I used them mostly last year. These Zem Golden Taklons that I got on Amazon on eBay. They're pretty good too. I have 5 of 6 of each of these, so these are 4s as well. And let's see, what do they compare here? The funny thing is they could be made by the same company, who knows, but they look about the same. This 4 has a little bit more of a belly, and this is the new one, the one that I just recently started using. But I like the Golden Taklon, but I'm sure the Sable's nice. I should see. But Kolinsky is what they use on the others there. But yeah, isn't that crazy that they're made by GW? I mean, made by Winsor Newton for GW. But the artificers are not cheap. I mean, this is the one that came with this. This is a beginner brush. It's not bad. Let's see how it's done after. It's still got the curl from what had happened is in shipping, either before it went out the door or after the protector was on the other end of the brush. And so it didn't do any good here. So it's got a little bit of a hook on it that I've tried to, I'm not going to give up on it. I have no idea what this brush is, how it's made or anything like that, but like what kind of hairs they're using. I'm sure they're synthetic, although I don't know. Certainly not going to be their artificer brush. Okay, let's see here. It's interesting, on that channel, David Peach, who is Peachy on GW's YouTube channel, they've been talking to lots of folks in the industry, and it's pretty neat because like a lot of them are like sculptors. There's a new one with the sculptor, the Mother of the Dragons. They say that she was doing tons of the sculpts for the dragon minis they've done over the years. And then the one guy that was the product guy, Tom Hiddle or something. He was great to hear because that means like lots of products I used to use in the time, and just how like they spent 5 years, I guess, getting the contrast paints together. So, because like he left in 2016 and he had worked on them, and so they were trying really hard to make sure that they were a good paint and would deliver what they were hoping. Which it's just a neat story about how that all the thought behind doing that, where they wanted to get people from putting the miniature together to painted mini enjoying it, you know, much quicker and getting good results. And so they had formulated the first ones that, you know, were just basic but ideas. I can't remember what they called stain and shade or something like that was what they called them. For me, I feel it goes to show you, because the paint's really good now. Again, I have not used any of the others, so I don't really know what you know, the other brands are like, and they're already on their second formulation for Army Painter, so that's just 2 years in, I believe, total. So I'm going to try not to do the glue on my finger from this one, this arm. I put a little bit too much glue. So bad you've had problems with the GW Artificer, huh? I wonder what the deal is, you know. I mean, I can't imagine. Now, it isn't that difference, 33 versus, you know, 20-something dollars for the same brush for like a number 2. And, you know, they have to make money, so they have to mark it up. So maybe they aren't quite as good, but they're supposedly Series 7. You know, who knows? And it may not be the same anymore, right? I don't know. Peachy's been gone for a year. I would not normally spend $30 on a brush. As I said, I got a good deal on the Winsor Newtons on a sale at probably around this time of the year for back to school. So if you're thinking about buying some brushes, probably the time is now. Thinking about, at least start looking, keep an eye. It is strange though, because, you know, there's, well, see, there's a gap here, I think. So it is, you do have to hold it. So I don't know if you can see it though, but there's a gap here. And I don't want to have to fill it. So I'm just going to hold it for a little bit. Maybe 5 years you haven't bought one. I mean, I don't blame you. Why bother? You're going to save money just getting the Winsor Newton ones. But now with all this talk about Winsor Newton, I probably will try painting with that 2 Winsor Series 7 and see how it is. I'm sure it's great. I mean, I was always a Sable miniature painter, and I only recently, I mean, I've always had some synthetic hair brushes. I've always had some. And, you know, some are better than others, but I've always also, I mean, since I was in high school, when I started to paint, we got student prices. Like, the teacher got us stuff for really inexpensive, and so I always bought Winsor Newton. I mean, that's what we got. And so I was a Winsor Newton user forever. And I really like their brushes for sure, but I feel that, you know, it depends. Like, if you're a competition painter, then maybe it might be worth it to spend the money. I am not. Now, Adam has a friend, Sam Lenz, who's a Golden Demon and a Crystal Brush winner. He uses only inexpensive, which, you know, of course, that made me feel good because that's what I do. He only uses Golden Taklon inexpensive brushes that are like 4 5s or 6s or something like that. So, and he's a great painter, really a great painter. So I feel like it's just your ability as you go. And I'm not necessarily the greatest painter at all, but I'm okay, and I certainly know how to use the brushes relatively well. So it's not necessary to spend too much, I feel. You just don't want real junk. Now, I will admit, I mean, here's the other tube of these brushes I bought. Some of these don't look so great, but I mean, the win versus lose is massive. See, that one seems like it's got a weird little curl to it, but I don't know, they work pretty great. Apple barrel paints. Now, I've used that kind of stuff for undercoating, but I still feel that that's probably not worth it. The problem is with those types of paints is they are, the pigments are large. They're inexpensive pigments, and so you're not going to get the quality that you might, you know, when you buy the more expensive paints. And you know, GW's paints, it's not a big bottle. I mean, this is essentially the size of what a apple barrel paint bottle is. And I have some. I don't really use them for much. But I was actually on that one same it was a podcast essentially, but it's on the YouTube channel. They were talking about their gold is like better than, the manufacturer told them it's better than what, higher standard than what Rolls-Royce uses for their paints, for the Retributor Gold. And I mean, I love Retributor Gold. It's a great paint. I don't know if it's still that level of quality. I don't know. You know, I don't imagine, they make changes because like better mediums and stuff like that. I don't think they make, I don't know though, you know, I mean, how expensive would that be? You can only, you know how if you buy golden paints, which are, they have great stuff, you pay more for stuff that's expensive pigments. You know, there's more expensive pigments out there that you use. So the same size bottle could be multiple prices. And that's the same with Winsor Newton and everything. You buy their tube acrylics and tube oils. Certain ones are much cheaper than others, because of the pigment cost. To base coat terrain, that makes total sense, TCAT. Totally. I mean, that's what I've used them for. That there's no point in spending expensive. I mean, I know people that go to Home Depot and buy the paint, you know, where they've messed it up and they just make it gray, that will go and buy that. I actually went and bought it for a project I was doing that was not mini related. I'm like, I just want gray, and it doesn't really matter to me. I'm not looking for any kind of specific temperature of gray. And it was awesome, right? Definitely go for, there was something they were talking about, how one of the paint lines has like a large container for the, it might have been GW now that I think about it. They maybe don't make that paint anymore, but it was like maybe a train paint that was like, it was exactly the same paint. They couldn't make another one, but if everybody knew that it was the same paint, they just buy the larger bottle of it and go forever with it. I mean, because I buy the primers that I use from Stynylrez, which is Badger, it's called Stynylrez. They're Badger paints. Those are great, and you know, it's definitely cheaper to buy more. But as I said, I use the black. I think I put too much glue in there. I use the black. I don't know if it was Apple Barrel. It might have been. Oh goodness, there's another one that you find often at those places. Deca maybe, or something like that. I can't remember. Those are the ones I usually use. Makes me think though it's Deco Arts, but I don't think it is Deco. But maybe it is. It's been so long since I bought them. This is going to be a tough one. Maybe I waited too long. No, there we go. So I did put a lot of glue in that connection to the gun there with the arm. Too much. Yeah, I wouldn't use mini paints for terrain. That's just, they're too expensive. Wow, there you go. It's dripped down his arm and I've just stuck my finger in it. So there you go. We'll let that go. I think it's okay. So you can see here, too much, it kind of squeezed out. I'll let that dry like that other one kind of. Okay. Well, let's let him sit to put him on a base in a bit. Although maybe I can put him in the base just a little bit to let it dry without it resting on a part. Okay. Next one. '17, '18, '19, '20. Here we go. Wow, that's a different shaped one. Interesting. So this is the tail and one of the legs in a piece. Yeah, I want the cutters to be flush to the part so it will be as smooth as possible on the cut. Interesting, so they have like a similar part, but they give it a different number so you don't confuse it, which is good. Hey Joe King, we're doing well, keeping busy. We are getting ready for Gen Con. So this will be the last stream until we return from Gen Con. Because Thursday we will be traveling and then we'll a few days in Dallas and then we're off to Indianapolis, which is hopefully it'll be cooler than it is here. It has been lately. We had one year that it was just terrible. We were working in the hall and they used to air condition the hall. One of the vendors would pay for it, and that, you know, like it was obviously not inexpensive for that setup day. And then they moved out of that hall, probably wisely so, and stopped paying for that air conditioning. And oh my gosh, we were just drenched, working as hard as we could to get everything done. So I won't miss that. I was talking to Nick Murphy from the Bros Murphy yesterday. They're going to Gen Con, but they're not working for anybody. They're not going to be, they used to do help with the booth with restoration hardware, and they're not going to do that. They said basically BGG Con, where they went and was one of the first cons where they went and just had fun, kind of converted them on it. And it's hard. It's hard to work a booth, although I really liked doing what we did for the live streaming. And I do miss it, and I felt what was great is a lot of the publishers came to us, right, you know, to show their stuff. So I could talk to lots of people, but it is a lot of work, and it's a very expensive proposition. So I don't blame Scott Aldi for not wanting to do it. Hey, David sent me some pictures of what he's working on. It's hard to actually, they look pretty good though. It's hard to actually make them, the lighting, he did them with a flash. So there you go. He's working on the Warhammer, Horrified miniatures. But I will tell you, I'm sure they look, you may be frustrated with the photos, but I'm sure they look great in person. That's usually how it is. I did that. I'm working on that. This plastic is softer than I think every time I do it, especially when I use this tool. Like, it just feels soft. Maybe I can kind of better feel the material in that with that mold line remover from GW. Hey, look at me. I'm cutting towards myself. Don't do that. Pokey, lots of little spikes on these. Thanks, Joan King. I'm just trying to. Yeah, they actually. I'm talking about David's. They look good to me, and they'll look good on the table. I love the We're looking. I have the 3D Blu-ray of Creature from the Black Lagoon, and it looks so great. So I've been like, I've got the Creature from the Black Lagoon on my mind. Interesting. Okay, so those are the pieces for that one. So it's the same thing. So I'm going to try to do a little bit less. This is the hard one though. Is this body part cavity here? It doesn't necessarily need to have glue, but you should have some because it's likely to not hold there. So I'm not going to try to hold that too much. Just let it, the force from the other piece hold it together. Maybe I won't touch it. I definitely need to paint more of the. We have lots of board games with minis. These are from Imperial Assault, and these went together pretty quickly. I did this one in Han. Han is not as great as I would hoped. I had some issues. You can see it was a little bit of speckle with the spray with the primer. I did it in a rush, and I don't think I had the air pressure correct. Which is, you know, you got to be cautious. So yeah, interesting. The seam is, there's a gap over here on the tail because it, oh wow, I missed that bit of cleanup there. There's a gap because the whole tail is connected to the other, to this leg, which is cool. Different design. So I really try to use as little possible on this gun because it dripped down the arm. Make sure that's the right side. That is the right side. Goodness. Hmm. Hmm. That's cool. Different look on that one. Where are we at? 19. So 21, 22, 23, and 24. Another one that has the tail connected to one of the legs. Interesting. It's different though. Guess I haven't clipped the tail. Thought I did it. keep thinking I got it, but I'm always missing at least one little connection. There we go. So there's still 4 more to do. It does seem like they actually designed these so where you would clip it, it doesn't make that much of it. I mean, yes, you do need to clean it up. You should anyway. But they make it so that it's not too horrible, right? The head is a bad spot. I wish they didn't put it there, but it's not just to hold it to the sprue, it's also to inject the plastic into stuff, so I'm sure that has to do with it, but the head, you don't want it to get too, I mean, you're looking at that, I think. I don't know. It's not a face, though, I guess, in this case. I don't imagine they would stick it to a Marine's face, Space Marine's face. Joking, these are actually from the introductory box that is part of the new Leviathan release. So I'm not certain how many of these minis might be in that set, but this is the handbook for it. And I think, you know, it's a great starter set. It comes with 5 paints, a set of trimmers, a paintbrush, 16 minis, some terrain that you make from a mat that they have, plus the insert of the box has some like 3-dimensional obstruction, you know, that you can have for the terrain. So it's a pretty cool set. I do not know what its cost is. I actually meant to look at it and see what they were charging, because it's a pretty great way to get going. You know, especially if you're new, you know, because that's what they're trying to do. That's what this getting started, the introductory sets are, is to get somebody into it, and that's what ultimately I think they're some of their best. I don't think Kill Team gets as much attention as Warhammer Underworlds did. I don't know if Warhammer Underworlds is still doing that well. Because Underworlds is a fantasy, although there was a it's Warhammer Quest. There was a sci-fi, a 40K Warhammer Quest called Blackstone Fortress a few years back that was pretty great. I didn't buy any of those, and I have the main box, but I didn't buy any of the expansions, and Scott got most everything, and I kind of regret it not doing it, because there are different kinds of miniatures. They'll do one miniature that is not, because it's a RPG, essentially, right? So it was so cool. I should have gone for it, but I cannot keep buying all this. I have so much stuff. But yeah, I was real happy that they asked if I would be interested in showing this stuff, because I would like to see. I've only ever bought like an introductory set for, I think I bought Storm Strike or something like that for Warhammer Age of Sigmar that was kind of like this, but I'd never done one with besides the introductory boxes like Leviathan, not introductory boxes, but when they released a new edition of the game. Yeah, it's cool, although the next thing I kind of would like to get, I would like to get some more Tyranid. But the next one I would really like to have is some oh my gosh, what am I thinking of? Plague Bearers and stuff like that. I've never done any of those. I mean, they're pretty gross. They remind me, we used to play a lot of Left 4 Dead, and they remind me of the Boomers. And I always go to the GW booth at all the conventions I go to and just look at. Last year, as a matter of fact, I think it was last year, I realized how far out I was on Warhammer Underworlds. I didn't realize I hadn't. I think the last one I bought was Beastgrave, and I don't even think I bought all of the expansion warbands for that. I'm sad, but I also just don't need them. They do seem to put a lot into their starter sets, for sure. I think they're a couple $100 now, like $230, I think is the price. I mean, I bought the Black Templar stuff that came out again recently, which was a pretty decent little box. And I also bought the Sisters of Battle initial box, which is okay. I have purchased some additional Sisters of Battle stuff. I think I got the new Immolator and the Exorcist. I know I bought one. I'm pretty certain they were in that phase. Although, for me, they always tend to do the Sisters of Battle stuff just before they change. So it's always frustrating because they don't come out with I mean, you can often use the rules, but it's not really the same as having a full-on army list that's tailored to the new game. So it's frustrating. And they finally had plastics for the Sisters, which is really cool. I just like them. I think they're cool looking. Fun idea. More interesting to me than the Marines, but I do like, as I said, I've got the Black Templar. Okay, what's next? picked up the book. Okay, so I'm on to 25, 26, 27, 28. Yeah, there's a bunch of these now are all with the tail attached to this. Interesting that it's a completely different process going on to this sprue. It's definitely a lot, right? This is where doing something like Marvel United is probably a good way to go too for folks if you just want to get into painting minis. Plus, I mean, obviously that's a very simple game. But you know, the minis are all assembled. Now, I've told you my problems with that is that I tend to not look at them as carefully as I would when I'm assembling them. And you know, that's just kind of like a weird thing I need to get over, because I can't, I would like them to, I really like to trim off the mold lines and things like that. Mostly mold lines. They do a very good job on their miniatures to conceal any injection points. I don't think I've seen any. So that means that they're probably doing them on like posts and things like that, or at the base of the head or whatever. So I still have 3 more. I wonder where I'm at. It's almost 12:24. But yeah, I mean, you know, I say about Warhammer being expensive, $200 and something. Well, the Marvel United is not inexpensive either. And you know, that's a big external IP. GW has their own IP, and so they develop all that and do a pretty great job, I think. And I don't have as much time for the lore that I used to, but I sure did love it back when I paid attention to it. You know, these miniatures are very organic kind of stuff going on here, so you don't necessarily have to go too crazy cleaning them up, because it will, other than like clear, obviously, posts of stuff, it's not too bad, because, you know, they could be damaged, you know, it's all war stuff, so they don't have to look perfect. I really wish I remember what we did on the I can actually probably look at those. I bet they're the Space Hulk that I did with Scott are in the library, and I'll be in Dallas at the library. I should check it out. Interesting. So this is different, quite a bit of different shape on this one too. What did I do to myself there? Must have pinched myself. So yeah, this crosses over here, so you have to look at this side to make sure that it's making that join. I might need a little bit of glue there. Hey Chad, how you doing? There's like plastic inside here. I don't know if that's from me trimming or it's just something from the manufacturing process. I did not get that knee. Keep doing this and forgetting this part right here. It's not going to be in his mouth, is it? No. So the gun goes lower. This one's tighter. So it's going to be a little different. I've heard the Bears are really good. We're not. Nikki's more of a TV watcher than I am, but it's on Was that too big of a base? It is. It's on Hulu, I believe, right? Okay, well, there we go. I think I am done for the day. Let's go see what's going on for us to raid. We won't be back until, I think I'll be streaming a paint stream on the 7th. I have to actually work on the schedule for next month. I had fouled it up. Today I had it scheduled that we would be doing a game night, standard game night, which I don't know what I did. I'm not sure how I fouled it up. I know there was gaps in the time because we were away. I watched it on Disney. I think that's in Europe. That's what it is. So yeah, Hulu's the U.S. Outlet for that, at least right now. We will be back, I believe, on the 7th, and I will probably do a paint stream on the 8th. And then Nikki, let me just look at the calendar. Nikki will join me on the 10th, yeah. So 8th I'll do a paint stream, the 10th we'll do a standard game night stream. I'll get the other schedules in there as well. Let's see what we got here. Let me go, I'm not on the creator dashboard. They've changed it on Twitch. Twitch likes to change it all. So it's actually the stream manager. So let's see what we got out there. If you want to join, please click through. I'm sorry the YouTube folks can't do that. Hey, Madame Clark. Hey, I'm sorry, I'm just getting on as we're wrapping up. You can start my stream at the beginning there and watch a little bit of it if you want. I think we're going to join Ruel. We haven't seen Ruel streaming at the same time. So, what is he playing? It says he'll be right back. Well, let's go. He's not there. I wonder what's going on. So let's go back. Let's pick Time Roller. Let's see what they're playing. Yep, they're playing a game. Say hello. Hope everybody has a good next few weeks. If you're at Gen Con, please come to the Hot Games room and say hello. And we will be there a bunch. I do have a lot of meetings, but in the evenings, I imagine we'll be there most of the time. Everybody take care and have a great week. And let's see if we can do this raid. What else is going on? I think that's it. I don't think he's going to do a stream on Wednesday, but he probably won't stream after that because he's going to Gen Con as well. Take care, everybody. I hope that went.